Cancel Culture as a Means of Censorship by Kate Sider. Here is an overview of what topics will be covered in this video. We will first discuss what cancel culture is, and as we examine different cancellations, we will actively consider these different questions. How does cancel culture operate as a form of censorship? Is or is it not effective? What makes it different from other means of censorship? We will look at one example of a successful cancellation, one failure, and one that falls somewhere in between. Cancel culture has no set definition, but it is generally described as being the process of the practice of publicly withdrawing support of individuals, groups, or brands due to perceived unacceptable behavior or opinions, past and present, often through social networks such as Instagram, TikTok, X, and larger platforms such as Twitch and YouTube. Ned Fulmer first rose to fame in 2014 as a member of the Try Guys, an entertainment group under the BuzzFeed company. These Try Guys did as they were named, primarily making videos of them trying different things, be it food, clothes, or activities. They were wildly successful, largely because of how each individual member branded themselves. Ned quickly made himself out to be a wife guy, a man who defines himself by his wife, constantly speaking of and centering his personality around her and their relationship. The Try Guys would eventually go on to leave BuzzFeed in 2018 to make their own entertainment company, aptly named Second Try. Their success would continue up until 2022, when it would be revealed that Ned Fulmer, resident wife guy, had been cheating on his wife with a workplace subordinate for well over a year. The fallout was instantaneous. Ned was asked to leave the Try Guys, removed from all of their upcoming pre-filmed unreleased content, and essentially shunned off the internet for his hypocritical, reprehensible behavior, making him a prime example of a cancel culture success story. Super quick warning for upcoming images of domestic assault injuries, which may be upsetting to some viewers. Chris Brown, on the other hand, is an abject failure of cancel culture. He first rose to fame in the early 2000s as a talented R&B singer, breaking records with his debut single, Hit It. From there, he continued to accrue more fame and positive attention up until 2009, when he was criminally convicted of felony assault against his then-girlfriend, Rihanna. Immediately, he was blacklisted from both the music industry and radio stations. However, he was able to gradually circumvent his cancellation. Some say it was because of the sheer amount of talent he held. Others claimed it was because of the quick thinking of his then-manager, Tina Davis, who, to ensure Brown stayed relevant in the music industry, had him accept every collaboration and feature that came his way. Regardless, Brown was able to sneak his way out of being cancelled and continues to be an accomplished musical artist till this day, which is an absolute shame. Next is an interesting case. Tana Mojo is an internet personality, influencer, and creator who first began making videos in 2015. She quickly rose to fame because of her raunchy attitude and testy sense of humor. That attitude, however, would come back to bite her, since time and time again she has wound up on the opposite end of a cancellation campaign against her because of her actions. There are honestly too many instances to count, so instead I've broken it down to 3 prime examples. First is TanaCon. After being scorned by VidCon in 2018, Tana decided she would hold her own convention. She did, and the event was disastrously managed, and after a slew of chaos and disappointment, it was cancelled in its entirety on its very first day. Next are the many different times Tana has been racist. As part of her edgy persona in the past, she made a slew of tasteless and culturally insensitive jokes, and regularly used slurs. Lastly is her general behavior during the COVID-19 pandemic. She, like many other LA influencers, completely disregarded the CDC's safety guidelines, choosing to go against them and attend flagrant maskless parties during the height of the pandemic. Despite all of this and more to come, Tana has always been able to make a comeback from being cancelled, and unlike someone like Chris Brown, she doesn't pretend her misdeeds didn't happen. Instead, she actively mocks herself, making being cancelled an essential part of her online branding, going so far as to make a podcast alongside fellow YouTuber Brooke Schofield, literally called Cancelled. Through the analysis and contemplation of these different instances of cancel culture, we can gain a better insight to how exactly it functions as a means of censorship. Unlike other forms of censorship like political legislation and subtle internet manipulation, cancel culture is socially driven. Thus, in order for cancel culture to be effective, social cohesion is necessary. Without it, the masses cannot be mobilized in order to enact respective campaigns. And with how polarized the online social climate is becoming in this day and age, cancel culture is becoming less and less of a viable means of censorship. For example, consider the recently uploaded Jubilee debate video, one progressive versus 20 far-right conservatives, featuring Mehdi Hassan. In this video, one debater, a man named Connor Estelle, openly proclaims himself as a fascist. After the video was posted, he faced backlash and rightfully lost his job, but he quickly took to the internet, setting up a GoFundMe that received over $30,000 in donations less than 4 days after the video was originally posted, which just goes to show how extreme and polarized the social climate of today is becoming. That's all from me for this video. Thank you!